Hey folks, and welcome back. So we got all the football talk out of the way, and I'm back with Mike Tula, and to my left, joining us on the panel, Texas heavyweight champion emeritus, former Texas cruiserweight champion, the one and only Ricky Jackson. Pretty Ricky, what they call him. So when you see Rick, you already know it's time to talk some boxing. So of course, the first thing we want to talk about is Mr. Deontay Wilder had a fight, right? Lead us into that, Tula.
Well, it was last Saturday, and the funny thing is, there wasn't much. At that time, I don't know if it's because we're covering so much college football, but I forgot, that he had a fight that Saturday night, and it ended up being, uneventful. It wasn't much of a contest, but at the same time, it was a fight to where they set it up obviously for Wilder to impress, and he did not. He showed, some vulnerability, showed some holes. He didn't look as sharp as he did against really his best competition, which was Stavern. And people are talking about, they're always talking about that Klitschko matchup, and it does not look very good for him at all if it happens. And B, I don't know if it's even plausible at this point. I'm not 100%.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. What you thought about
They're gonna try to build for
Klitschko.
that.
What do you think about that, champ?
Well, I mean, boxers normally, they pad their record with wins, to stay, I guess, in the race. Especially when you become a champion, you fought yourself into that position. So you want to earn a little money in the process of being a champion, So you normally have 2 or 3 soft fights and then get ready for the big fight. But the problem about having the soft fights is sometimes it exposes you for your capabilities as a fighter. And he fought a guy named Johan Duhampas.
Yeah, I left that for you. I didn't even want to try it.
Yeah, that by itself.
I left it for him as well.
Well, that by itself is kind of scary. I mean, it's a guy from overseas, had a pretty decent record of 32 and I think 2, but the problem with that is he never fought anybody.
Fought nobody, right.
And, it was a questionable fight. And the problem with that, along with that, I'm going to take it back to Mike Tyson era. Mike Tyson, he would fight the same type of guys, but what he did to them was not pretty. He would destroy them, 1, 2, 3, 5 rounds, and they're out of there. So you got Wilder's fighting BC level fighters, and he's having to really fight for them. So, I mean, it's kind of put a little question mark on his durability and ability to carry the heavyweight title.
Do you think he just wasn't getting mentally up for that type of fight?
Well, once again, he fought at home, which is in Alabama, so I'm quite sure there's a ton of distractions while fighting at home. I'm totally opposed to that. If you're going to fight, be a fighter, fight where the fights are supposed to be, which is in Las Vegas.
That's right.
So that's the fighting capital of the world, I think. And, it's business. I understand you got a fan base that you want to give them an opportunity to see fights, but, create your legacy first. And right now, I think he's kind of hurting himself more than he's helping himself as a world-class fighter, because his last 2 performances by BC level fighters was not good.
Speaking of BC level fighters, I know there's not much to talk about with Mayweather and Berto, but you already know where I'm going, don't you? During an interview, Mayweather, and I tagged both of you guys on it, Mayweather said he admitted that Berto was a B- fighter. So what do you think about him admitting, in my opinion, admitting that he's fighting inferior competition? What do you think about that?
Well, the manner in which the interview was, constructed, it almost was a perfect follow-up question, because he was asking, well, what kind of class fighter are you? What kind of class fighter are your competitions? And he was making a good case. Pacquiao, Cotto, he's been fighting some top-level guys. But like Ricky Jackson alluded to, sometimes these fighters nowadays, especially the top ones, they fight twice a year, and you're allowed to have 1, 2 in-between fights for the big major ones that you have. But yeah, it was funny how the interview went, because immediately after he said, well, what would you classify Adrian Bronner? And he was kind of tongue-tied a little bit. You could tell he got caught. And at least he owned up to it. And it wasn't really something, I got to own up to it because I'm trying to swindle anybody. I think everybody kind of knew. Something about that Pacquiao and Mayweather fight, after that happened, I feel like the mainstream kind of got, accustomed, or kind of got let in on the secret of a good fight being billed or a fight that was being hyped that could be sold that was being billed and a marketable fight?
Perfect segue. The rumblings about Pac-Man and Amir Khan. What do you think about that?
Well, I'm going to pass it on to
the
Ricky
champ.
on that.
Well, I'm not a big fan of Amir Khan. He's never impressed me. He's been knocked out once or twice, and not a very durable fighter. And I think he has more promotional behind his
Right.
name than he does fight behind his name. And Pacquiao will knock out Khan. So, I mean, if they do
Straight
make
up.
that fight, it'll be a soft fight for Pacquiao. He'll knock Khan out within 8 rounds, and that'll be so much for Khan. I mean, Khan was trying to maneuver his way into the Mayweather fight, just didn't have enough to support it. He's been defeated 3 or 4 times and once or twice by knockout, so he doesn't even belong in that same equation, in my opinion. But again, he has great promotion. He has the right back, and so he's studied being inserted into that top caliber echelon of fighters, and I don't think rightfully so. But back to the Berto and Mayweather fight, Mayweather made $35 million to fight Berto. And I mean, from a business standpoint, it was a great move. I mean, I think he's fought everybody in boxing from his beginning to his end, and maybe he fought him when they were not at their peak, but he did fight everybody. Now, the problem I think Mayweather's going to have is justifying his legacy. So I think that's going to be a problem for him with his ego, with his character. I think that's going to push him back into the sport to try to rectify the wrong that the public feels about the Pacquiao fight, and maybe step into a fight that's going to be a pretty big event.
What do you think of, we're talking about Amir Khan, and I think one of the main selling points of Amir Khan is, will it be competitive with Pacquiao, et cetera? The answer is no, but the thing about Amir Khan is you can bank on it being an exciting fight, and I think that's what people would want to sell
Especially
it
with
as.
Floyd, yeah.
With his speed, the thing about he's got a lot of speed, but he's not, he doesn't have that chin, he doesn't have that toughness has always been an issue. But, kind of parlaying off that, what do you think about the potential, because I know there's another rumor about potential Lucas Matisse and Pacquiao fight being, kind of tried to be made for next year?
Well, Batista is a good boxer, pretty good ring general strip. A little straight ahead kind of guy sometime, and he had a big win against the big puncher,
Provodnikov.
So I think that threw him in the top tier of that weight class. But him and Pacquiao, I don't think that would be a good matchup for Pacquiao because it can't go either way.
Right.
I'm interested to see where Pacquiao goes right now. I don't think there's nothing for a big Pacquiao without the Mayweather. A Mayweather rematch. And there's some good fights out there, of course, but I think Pacquiao became a fan favorite, and everybody wants to see Pacquiao do well. So there's some fights I don't think would be a good matchup for him out there, which is some of the big Russian guys with big punching power. And I'm just kind of waiting to see what Pacquiao does from this point.
How's that for a segue? Russian guys with punching power. So you already know who I'm about to talk about. Your boy Triple G, right? So Cotto and Canelo is the big fight coming up, okay? What are your thoughts on Triple G, the winner of that fight, possibly stepping in the ring against Triple G?
Well, Golovkin's always wanted Cotto.
He always wanted Cotto.
Yeah, he's always wanted that fight. Particularly, definitely from a marketing standpoint, it'd be fantastic for him. He would probably fight at Madison Square Garden. There's a lot of Puerto Rican fans there. Golovkin has adopted himself as a Mexican fighter because he's appeased. He did a great job by appeasing to that fan base. Mm-hmm. And
that's huge in boxing.
And that fan base loves his style of fighting. It's just coming forward and not coming forward, but just making a fight out of it. And
fighting.
Exactly.
Yeah, fighting.
Fighting and not really backing down. But the issue with that matchup is I'm not sure. I think Canelo's gonna win against Cotto. So I think either one of those matchups is going to be good for Golovkin in terms of a step up in his marketing and staying power, especially as a potential pay-per-view attraction, which he's pretty much on his way of becoming.
Okay. So Now, what do you think about that, champ?
Well, I'm going to jump on a different fight. I think that's going to be a good fight. I think Canelo will get past Cotto, and the Golovkin-Cotto fight. I mean, the Golovkin.
Lemieux.
What's the fight with Golovkin?
He's fighting Lemieux on
Yeah, Lemieux.
17.
So that should be an interesting fight. Just to see how it turns out. I'm not really focused on that one too much, but I am focused on the fight that's happening tomorrow with the Adrian Bronner and the Alec Verdillo fight. You know, and I'm interested to see what Adrian Bronner is going to do, because he's now supposed to be reinventing himself. You know, the new thing about Adrian Bronner, which was once about billions, now is about business. You know, so he's trying to reinvent himself in front of our eyes, and I'm interested to see how that turns out. I saw his press conference, and I wasn't too impressed with the reinvention, because he kind of started getting back into that character, caught himself a little bit. But he's fighting a soft competition, fighting a guy that just got beat by Jesse Vargas. So this should be a good fight to see Adrian Bronner step back in and put some punches together and make a good showing, hopefully. So never know with Bronner, though. You just never know what you're going to give with this guy from one second to the next. But he's supposed to fight. He's fighting tomorrow against a pretty much B-level fighter. And I hope he doesn't drop down and be a B-level fighter himself once again.
Right. I think he's almost on the border, Bronner.
If he loses this one, it's a wrap.
Right, because
I said it about the last one, too. But, you know, boxing is still kind of starving for a superstar. And he has the potential, but you have to really fight for it.
Right, and I think he was developing that personality before to make him an attraction, and it just never, you know, worked out for him. You know, he didn't show up in his big fights, and that's the funny thing about these fighters. You know, they have to appease and they have to, you know, establish a fan base to justify the numbers for a pay-per-view. Because just being you know, Andre Ward's a testament to this. You know, just being fantastic, you know, as a technically sound as a fighter and winning. Doesn't mean you're a pay-per-view attraction, no matter how good you are. Even if you know he's considered one of the best pound-for-pound people.
Yeah, well, Bronner would have been a big attraction, but he lost.
Right.
Yeah.
He lost candidly too. So I mean, his downfall was the two losses. You know, he brought the hype, he brought the entertainment, he brought the show, but he didn't bring the fight. So that's where he lost it at. And I'm not sure if he can revamp it, because he got those two losses.
Yeah. So we got about a minute left in this segment. So Tula, I want you to talk to me real quickly about Teddy Atlas getting with Timothy Bradley. Yeah, I see the smile already. What's your thoughts on that?
I like it. You know, Timothy Bradley's a workhorse. He never stops. He's a high energy guy. You know, he's got a lot of heart, and that's something that I think Teddy Atlas can work with. I love his book, by the way.
Yeah.
Shameless plug.
Yeah.
Shameless plug.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a great discussion. This has been a great show. Jolivet, Tula, the champ, talked about some football, some Texans, and what in the world was just going on with that. We were just floating for a minute. But this has been a good one, y'all. So in closing, did we predict those fights? Now, you already, in a way, predicted Canelo and Cotto.
We did, but I think Canelo beats Cotto, and Lemieux gets worked by Golovkin.
Worked.
Yeah.
Knocked out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And speaking of tomorrow, Bronner should beat Verdillo easily
Oh, Bronner.
if he fights his best fight.
Okay. Well, that'll do it for this week, folks. So, again, for Tula, Jolivet, the champ, Ricky Jackson, I'm Mitchell Brock. We thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you next time.